Welcome everyone to Talk Wrestling here on the No DQ, hopefully the No DQ YouTube channel. We'll see how the show goes, whether I'm censored or not. No, I'm kidding. Thank you all for your patience with me. I know I say that a lot when I make these little forays into outside of YouTube and come back and everything. I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. It's been a rough month and a half, health-wise for me. I ended up being really sick for most of March and into WrestleMania weekend, so much so that I really didn't want to do the no DQ prediction shows for NXT and the Hall of Fame stuff and WrestleMania. I literally slept through most of the pre-show of WrestleMania and about 2-3 matches on the main card. I mentioned this on the wrap-up show for WrestleMania that we did with Aaron and everybody, that I felt like such crap, and I'm just now starting to feel better. So much so that I made sure I let you guys know on social media this week that I would be finally sitting down right here and talking about a guy that I feel is, I don't think there's any argument this. I mean, you can talk about Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels, but when you look back at nearly 27 years as being the man in the WWE, you have to consider The Undertaker the greatest of all time. And I think that, you know, off the top of my head, one memory that comes to my mind right now is the fact that The Undertaker was the man that usurped Randy Savage's place as my dad's all-time favorite. And Randy wasn't even dead yet. Like, he just gravitated toward The Undertaker so much so that when we decided to take pity on my broke ass, if you will, and go to WrestleMania in 2008, it was no small feat in his mind, and no small wonder in his mind that he got to see his favorite of all time become the World Heavyweight Champion in the main event of WrestleMania. I thought that was very cool for my dad. But enough about me. I have oodles and oodles of submissions from you guys on Twitter, Instagram, and yes, even Facebook regarding The Undertaker. So let's just get right into it. The first one actually came from Dylan Falk. I don't have his Twitter. Oh, his Twitter is I can't. You know, I'm just gonna read the names as the apparent Twitter, not the Twitter handles. I'm just gonna read the names because I can't. It's too small. My eyes are stuck. He first said, fondest memory of Taker, just one. Oh boy. Taker versus Shawn at 25 and the debut as American Badass. And then I replied to him saying, dude, say what you want. I'm going to say every single thing that comes into me. I'm going to say every single thing that comes into me through social media to you guys out there watching Talk Wrestling. Dylan then replied with a few things. He remembered popping out of the coffin and chokeslamming Orton on SmackDown, returning to Survivor Series and kicking everybody's ass. 2005, the Bad Blood match, the very first Hell in a Cell match in 97, the feud in the match with Edge at WrestleMania 24, which I just mentioned, and the match with Kurt Angle at No Way Out 2006, the elimination at the 2002 Royal Rumble and beating that Maven afterwards, that whole ordeal with his reaction, crowd pop, everything, wow. Yeah, the elimination with The Undertaker at 2002 Rumble was really something. Even my dad, who wasn't totally saw Undertaker yet, he still liked Randy Savage more, but he was like, Maven? Like, really? Like, what? What the hell just happened? It was pretty surreal to see something like that happen. But anyway. Cody Collier, Undertaker's feud with Edge in what made me a wrestling fan in 2008, and my all-time favorite match is Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. Again, the feud with Edge, you know, encapsulated more than a year, because you remember, Edge cashed in Money in the Bank in May of 2007, and that feud really didn't culminate until the following year's SummerSlam, the big Hell in a Cell match. Yes, the World Championship was exchanged a few times, but it really became a personal rivalry between the Phenom and the Rated R Superstar, so much so that, you know, Edge's own wife literally sent Edge to hell at SummerSlam. So there you go. Michael DeSanti on Twitter, the greatest memory of The Undertaker was the Hell in a Cell match with Mankind at King of the Ring 98 when he threw Mankind off the cell. You know, I still, every time I watch that match, I don't know why I put myself through it, because watching that match makes me cringe every time. But when I see Undertaker and Mankind approach the edge of the top, the edge of the cell, and I know what's going to happen, I literally like well up, like, shit. And I watch him fly. It's weird. It's surreal. Have you met Mick Foley and knowing what he's gone through? I'm amazed he's walking. And he's had hip surgery, and God bless him, but my goodness. You're crazy, Mick. Tristan Quick. The first time watching his entrance, the music, the lights, the fog, his slow march, eyes rolling back in his skull, a true spectacle. The first memory of wrestling was lights going off in a match and him appearing to chokeslam Orton. Fell in love and had been captivated since. Wow. Matt McGarity says, being there for WrestleMania 25 match is unbelievable. 2017 Royal Rumble match now, too, because that'll be the last time I ever see him perform. Now, that's the thing. I'm seeing so many people just come to me, not really wanting to be part of what I'm doing here, but just saying, the seeing him live and seeing the entrance live, I remember so vividly the first time I saw him as the Undertaker with the whole big, and it was actually WrestleMania 24. And I don't care what arena you're in, what stadium you're in, what house you're in. When those lights go down and that gong hits and that purple haze starts going all over the arena, you drop 10 degrees in body temp every time. It just happens. It's just the way it is. I can't. It's scientifically unexplainable. It just is. JC Combat 007 has a very interesting one. He says, favorite memory of Taker was when he abducted Stephanie McMahon in 1999, which was, he was evil incarnate in the Ministry of Darkness era. He would stoop to unbelievable depths to accomplish his goal of ruling the WWF and becoming WWF champion again. So, and then of course when he returned Judgment Day 2000, he says, yeah, that was a cool moment seeing him come down on the bike for the first time. That was crazy. Mike, PunkFan123, says, when he returned in 2009 to face CM Punk. Yeah, I don't really think that feud gets a whole lot of notable attention because all we had in that feud was the screwjob finish with Teddy Long being involved in 1 month, and then the following month Punk just got decimated inside Hell in a Cell, and then he was told by the writing team, you're moving on from Undertaker. We don't need you anymore. Like, huh? What? The Undertaker's feud with CM Punk between the 2009 feud and, of course, when he had the WrestleMania match in 2013, I think that feud is grossly underrated. And I think CM Punk's involvement in that feud largely motivated the Undertaker because, like it's been said on Punk's DVD, Undertaker wasn't sold on Punk, and Punk earned Undertaker's respect in that feud. So I think that's admirable in and of itself. Callum Owen, aside from WrestleMania, what's your favorite Taker moment match? Ooh, that's why I should read these things before. I'm biggest show I've done in a long time. I should prep for these things. Well, my favorite WrestleMania, my favorite Taker moment is WrestleMania 24. Being there live for it, but I remember my favorite moment with him, honestly, is Ric Flair's farewell. It's on the Ric Flair DVDs if you have them. I think it's on the most recent release they did when he retired. When Ric Flair said goodbye after he retired in 2008, which I was there for, obviously. And the cameras went off, and the cameras were still rolling, but the live show was over on USA Network. And he came out, embraced Rick, and gave him the Undertaker salute, and showed him the ultimate respect. And he was the last guy to come out, except for Vince. I thought that was so cool. Watching Ric Flair retire, I still cry at bed every time too. So it's been a very emotional fandom for me, I guess. Alex Boney, he has two memories. He says, my favorite memory is when he returned as a dead man at WrestleMania 20, which Dylan's mom, to this day, still talks about when he walked down the aisle, met up with Paul, and just did that quick turn, like it was like he just turned on a dime. It was very eerie, but very cool. And then his second favorite memory is when he returned on Raw in March of '98 when the lightning bolt hit the coffin and JR went nuts. When he was lit on fire in the casket, yes, at the Royal Rumble, and then returned to face his brother. On Instagram, Photos by York says, a great moment when I saw him face Edge at 2008 One Night Stand, and I thought he was done. Then, because the contract for this match was if he lost, he would leave the WWE, and he lost a great match against Edge. This Undertaker would start the once-a-year WrestleMania appearances. Anyway, that was a crazy match, especially when Undertaker went through like 4 tables that were stacked up next to the ring. I have other great memories from watching him as a kid with my dad. I don't think there has ever been anyone else to give you goosebumps every time you see his entrance. # thank you, Taker. Great. Generate9. My memory of The Undertaker is when he and Kane had a great storyline in 1997, which was 20 years ago. Can you believe it? 20 years ago, 1997? Like, the 90s were 20 years ago. I'm old, dude. Crazy. And also, do you think when he goes in the Hall of Fame, who do you think will induct him? That is a... See, if Paul Bearer were still alive, I would say he would induct him. Since he's not... You know, I really want to say Kane, but I think Undertaker deserves the Stone Cold treatment and get the Vince induction. You know, Hogan, the greatest of all time, had Sly Stallone. Flair, the greatest of all time, had the greatest currently, Triple H, the McMahon-in-law. Steve Austin had Vince McMahon himself. So I think Undertaker deserves a truly special inductor, whether it's Vince or even Shane or Kane or somebody that really stands out. All right, my buddy Kristen, Spicy Palms on Instagram. So bear with me. I love you, Kristen, and I love that you gave me so much to work with. I appreciate that very much. My father and brother had watched wrestling for as long as I can remember, but I really started getting into it when I was about 13. Yep, I was a teenage girl with wrestling action figures, posters, and a Road Dogg t-shirt. Road Dogg will like that. Undertaker quickly became one of my faves. It's hard to put something into words that conveys how special The Undertaker is. My emotions would be on fire during the Taker matches at Mania. I was always so nervous they would end the streak. I practically covered my eyes and peek during any pinfall. Then I would take pictures of the screen when he won. He was just so special. The entrance, the costume, the creepiness, the song, and of course the wrestling. The year the streak ended, one of my favorite bands was playing in town. I decided to go to the concert, and it's the only WrestleMania I didn't watch live since I started watching my pay-per-views in 1998. I texted someone and told them to tell me what happened with The Undertaker, but I really wasn't all that worried. There was no way they could ever end the streak. They never do. I looked down at my phone after the song ended and saw it's over. He lost. My heart sank. The Undertaker has the ability to draw on people's emotions in a way I don't think anyone else can. I don't think we will ever see someone who matches his staying power again. Where'd it go? Lost it. Sorry, Kristen. I never did get to see The Undertaker in person because I didn't get to start going to events until I was way older. I was at Monday Night Raw a few weeks before Mania this year in Detroit. They played the gong sound, and I jumped up hoping I would see him for a few seconds, but it was just a tease for Roman, and he wasn't there. These were just some random thoughts of personal moments because we all know his accomplishments, and I don't need to list them. Hashtag thank you, Taker. Thank you, Kristen. That was awesome. On to Facebook. Yes. I reached out to Facebook fans because I don't usually mix the two worlds. I just kind of keep Facebook personal, like my own, like outside of wrestling space. I do mix every now and then with like memories and stuff like that, but usually I don't talk about the shows, the YouTube shows on Facebook, but I did. And I decided to do it. Let's see. Kayfabe Candy Ass. I won't give his name on Facebook. If you know it, great. If not, I don't care. The Undertaker was so big that I knew who he was before I even started watching wrestling and then recognized him immediately. It can't be overstated how incredible it was that he was able to fit into every era he was a part of. WrestleMania already hasn't been quite the same since the streak ended, but it's going to be even more weird without seeing The Undertaker on the card at all. Bingo. Angie, I don't know how to say your last name, Angie, Ramondo, I apologize. She is my resident, China fan page lady. I love Angie. She's great. We talk about China all the time, her and I. We miss Joni a lot, so it was cool to get to know her. There is just so many memories of The Undertaker. I watched him since he first debuted in WWE, and since then he has become such an amazing person to watch in the ring. He definitely fit that role as The Undertaker and ran wild with it, and has over the years gained so many loyal fans. He had an amazing career, and his legacy will definitely live on. It's sad it had to end, but he has to do what is best for his health also. I lived through the Attitude Era and glad I was able to see him live. It was amazing to see him wrestle. He will forever live on with me like China has an amazing legacy that no fan will ever forget. That's cool. My buddy Lex. I love my pin trading buddy, my wrestling buddy, who actually was at WrestleMania 30 when the streak ended and WrestleMania 33 when he walked away. Jealous, Lexi. Love you, girl. What people on TV don't know about WrestleMania 30 is after Brock won, it went stone cold silent. And we knew nothing of what just happened. And then they just flashed 21-1 on the screen. Like, it was a total shock. And then WrestleMania 33, watching Undertaker walk around from the ring and raise his arm like Bender did in The Breakfast Club. He came, he saw, he conquered. Bruce Kraft, my good buddy Bruce Kraft. Taker versus HBK. Enough said. Short to the point, Bruce. I love it. Yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I think Undertaker will be obviously defined by WrestleMania. And I think of his WrestleMania feuds and matches, the Shawn Michaels pair will definitely stand out as the top two. The match at 25 was nothing short of spectacular. And, you know, for me, being able to see that the WrestleMania 25 match basically saved that show, because that was a very abysmal show. It was rough. It was really rough to watch that show. But the Undertaker match at WrestleMania 25 against Shawn Michaels was spectacular. All right, Stat Boy, Mr. Mike. He sent me a long kind of top 10 rant thing, so I'm going to go ahead and read it off. I promise I read everybody, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. The Undertaker's had one of the greatest careers ever. There's no doubt about that. So here are my top 10 moments from his career. Number 10, the motorcycle entrance to WrestleMania 17. It was very surprising to me after when I first learned the Undertaker liked motorcycles, but to see him come flying down the ramp for his match at WrestleMania was cool. Especially when he was interviewed after about it, saying, "I just opened it up all the way and let it go." He's paraphrasing. He doesn't sure what he said. Number 9, the physical mental speech of Vince McMahon on Monday Night Raw. During the time when Stone Cold Steve Austin lost the title and the storyline involved Kane and Undertaker, Vince McMahon used the line, "It's like working with a handicap. One's physical and the other's mental." When that line was said, Undertaker gave Vince the "oh really" look, and then of course proceeded to give the boss a good old-fashioned beatdown. But it was that one look that just gave you the notion that something bad was going to happen. Right, Carrie and Miranda? Caskets and Pyro, Royal Rumble, number 8. It's more like a Kane moment. Since Undertaker was involved, I call it Undertaker moment. Kane pouring gasoline on the casket with the Undertaker inside and setting it on fire was one of the best controlled fires I've seen. Add the mystery of how he escaped the casket from below is fascinating. Then coming back to call out Kane with a lightning strike makes it better from a movie point of view. The hand through the grave, buried alive. Another case of how did they do that. Obviously, there had to be a way to protect Taker from all the dirt on top of him, and he had to have an oxygen tank so he could breathe. Unless it was a mechanical hand, I may never know, but it's still a cool way to show that it wasn't done yet. I think they had him like up toward the top of the grave and was able to reach through, because that really was his hand reaching up, by the way. The face turn in the funeral parlor. The early part of Taker's career was the best. He didn't need to say much to get his point across. When Jake Roberts asked him whose side he was on, the two most powerful words were said, "Not yours." Throw in dragging casket with one hand, which was pretty impressive. Number 5, get this damn bike off me from SmackDown, he thinks. Not certain all the details on this one, but in a couple backstage shots, Taker was tuning up his engine for his appearance, and he was attacked by, I think it was Chronic, not sure, but his motorcycle ended up lying on his leg, pinning him to the ground. Kane was there to make sure to save him from the attack, and just the way Taker said this line made it the most memorable. I think Kane even dropped the motorcycle back on Taker when the beating started back up again. I don't remember that. I'll have to go back and watch SmackDown from 2001. Check that out. I will not rest in peace from the Royal Rumble. The first major storyline where Undertaker lost was a big one, so why not get the last word and do it in a big Hollywood way? Of course, seeing it when it happened, I didn't know what was going on, but now I understand it all. 3, seeing Undertaker live at WrestleMania 21. Witnessing Taker live is as exciting as the commentators make it to be. I was lucky enough to be at Staples Center for WrestleMania 21, and when it came time for his match against Randy Orton, the arena actually did feel like it was getting colder. The only goof was the platform that made Taker look like he was floating to the ring got revealed, so the effect was ruined, but the point was made. Plus, Pop said that if Orton had beat Taker, he would never watch wrestling again. So as soon as the 3 count was made and with his music blaring and the crowd cheering, I called him from the arena yelling on the phone, "Are you still watching?" He answered, "Yes." Shout out to Jerry. Match with HBK at WrestleMania. It's no secret, I actually believed HBK was going to break the streak and beat Taker. But both these matches are 5-star quality. Every kick out made it seemed like HBK was going to win until he decided to slap before getting tombstoned. Big mistake. And number 1, the streak broken. I never wanted the streak to end. No one did. But it happened, and we still don't know why. Well, Vince explained why. Hopefully someday we'll get the story from Taker himself. The only place to do that would then cause a number 1 moment, the Hall of Fame. It will give the fans closure, and they'll finally understand why it happened the way it did. Mikey, thank you. I appreciate that. The last memory comes from, I think, the biggest Undertaker fan I know, Pinky Elizabeth. I'll save your last name for if you want to reveal it. That's cool. She's saying to me, "As you know, I have been a huge Undertaker fan since the WCW days, 1998. It was something special. I saw him then when I was 13. When he showed up in the WWF in 1990, I was in love. Walking the top rope, undefeated for the first 3 years in singles action, he changed my life. I haven't wavered, nor will I. My favorite memory is actually this final match. Not the retirement, but he drew so much emotion out of me, more than normal. The way he carried himself with such grace in defeat. Me in tears as Taker left everything in the ring. I screamed, please don't leave me. My world crashes down. Me on my floor bawling. I have never behaved this way, but concerning Taker. That man I'm in love with had me fall in love over again. I'll never ever forget him. His name is forever on my body. I love Taker. And she sent me a picture of her tattoo. I'll try to get Erin to display it if I can. On the back of her neck and up at her upper shoulder, she has the Undertaker, like Undertaker written in like old, like Undertaker style logo word on her. It's an awesome tattoo. I'll have to show it to you guys. Okay. Thank you all for submitting your memories. I mentioned mine, you know, seeing him live at WrestleMania 24, the entrance, the whole thing, and all the WrestleMania memories over the years. Watching the streak die in my living room with my dad sitting next to me and saying he wouldn't watch again. He didn't watch for a while after that. And of course, a couple weeks ago when he walked away. Speaking of walking away, many of you know that I've been absent for Talk Wrestling for a while. Yeah, I was sick, and yeah, I've been working a lot, but the truth is, I found that it's not a must for me to set the studio up, sit in front of this camera, and spout at you guys for 20 minutes like I used to. I'm realizing that my family is the most important thing to me, my son especially, and working hard and maintaining my job and maintaining friendships, be it wrestling or not, is more important than the fame I've acclaimed in the last 15 years. So other than the occasional pop-in for the Big Four pay-per-view predictions and reviews, maybe not even reviews, just famous predictions, this is it for me. I've said this before. I've walked away a couple times, but I had a long talk with Erin and Greg and Dave about this, and I decided that it was time that I take a step back and let the trio handle No DQ Media for a while. I am forever grateful to everybody I've worked with in the last 15 years: Mike, Josh, Lee, Erin, Beth, Jamie, Jade, Dave, Greg, all the people I've interviewed, everybody that's been a part of my shows, especially Bobby Heenan and Rob Van Dam, my two favorite guests ever. Rob's still a good friend to this day. I miss talking to him, but hopefully he's doing well. And I don't want this to be sad. I'm trying not to tear up because I don't like that. I really want to go knowing that I made the right choice, and I can just sit back and watch Raw, and not have to evaluate Raw and SmackDown every week and have to critically think. I just want to be able to sit down in front of my DVR and just escape into the moment. And that's what I'm going to do. So on behalf of myself and my family, thank you all for supporting me. Thank you all for letting me be part of your lives the last 15 years, be it an Extreme Mayhem, XMV, RSI, Talk Wrestling, the pay-per-view shows, whatever. It's been an amazing ride for me, and I will never forget all the interactions I had with all you guys over the years. It's been very surreal to be infamous or famous or whatever you want to call me. So until at least SummerSlam weekend, goodbye.